Namaskar. Today we will be talking about China's role in the pandemic which has been troubling the entire world now. There is going to be four section of my talk. I will be talking for 25 minutes and then onward we can start question answers. Uh, First of all, the virus which has basically tormented the entire humanity now, what should it be called? It has emanated from the land of China. China is trying to obfuscate the whole thing. Sometimes they say that it has come from wet markets of Wuhan. Then there are other experts which are saying that this could be a tool of bio warfare. Then there are other reports which are coming. They say that this is emanated out of Institute of Virology from Wuhan city. There are talks galore. But this is my submission. The coronavirus is not the right terminology to be used for this virus. It is indeed China virus. Mr. Trump had he temerity to term this virus as China virus. Later on, maybe because of the reasons best known to him, he changed his course and he again started calling it coronavirus or COVID-19. Friends, trust me, this is China virus. Now there are basically, when we go for cause and effect theory, effect is in front of us. Effect tells us that already more than 2,500,000 people have been infected worldwide. More than 1.5 lakh deaths have occurred because of this as of now. And as the estimates are coming, no expert as of now can tell how many people, God forbid, are going to be dying because of this virus. It is, as of now, it has tormented the whole humanity. This is the effect. Second effect, in the days down the line, what we are going to see are going to be, the repercussions are going to be in economic terms, and as it is China's want, this is going to be in strategic terms also, what the entire world is going to observe later on. So my entire talk is divided. First of all, what this virus was all about, how did China attempt to obfuscate the whole thing with the various kind of gimmicks, with the bribing of World Health Organization's president, with even maneuvering these channels like Discovery Science. They had this show go on this Discovery Science, whereby they were trying to exonerate themselves. Obviously, they bribed Discovery Science. So this is clear-cut attempt to obfuscate the whole thing. Now, effect is in front of us. If we go for the causes, so causes also, first thing could be various variables. The first thing could be it is bio warfare. Second thing, it was accidentally it emanated out of the Institute of Virology. And third thing is, as they people are maintaining, okay, this is the bats, they get infected, and because of wet market, and it was transmitted to human beings. Friends, in the month of November, China knew it. Okay, this is epidemic. They tried to suppress the reports. And again, in the month of December, there was Dr. Li Wenliang. He went on record. He said, okay, this is epidemic. China again suppressed the reports. And this doctor was, maybe he died. No one knows whether that was an assassination or whatever. That doctor was killed. And again, there's a Dr. Miss Ai Feng. She belongs to Wuhan city. She said that this is epidemic and China tried to suppress the reports. Mr. Tedros, who's World Health Organization's president, he was taken on board. He never let the rest of the world know okay, what are the reasons behind the spread of this epidemic. Then, in the month of
We'll pause for a minute to increase the volume.
December, Taiwan, they wrote to World Health Organization that being the neighboring country, they knew that this is an epidemic, this is going to be pandemic, and they tried to convince the World Health Organization that let the entire world know that this is pandemic, and because Mr. Tedros, he was in complicity with the Chinese government, this thing never happened. Now,
Wait a moment, we will pause for a minute.
how China maneuvered the entire world about the death toll that was regulated by China. In the initial period, they said, for example, in the city of Wuhan, they said 2,500 people have died, and the rest of China around 800, 900 people have died. At that time, their endeavor was to let the entire world know that because China is on course, China is the best administrative society, and China can control this virus, and in economic terms, they wanted to give a kind of confidence to the rest of the countries with whom they were trading. So they suppressed the total mortality, what happened there. Now all of a sudden, when rest of the world is talking, okay, when 15 to 20,000 people have died in Italy, around 20,000 people have died in Spain, 10,000 deaths have taken place in UK, and more than 25,000 people have died in USA and other countries also. So now people are raising the question, all of a sudden China came with new theory. It said that now the total number of people who died in the city of Wuhan only, they were around more than 3,500. They escalated the entire figure by 50%. So now, as if death also, basically they are regulating the number of deaths what has taken place in China. Now the thing is, how did they manipulate the whole thing? In the initial period, not only they suppressed the reports, what they did, in Italy, we all must have seen one video, that one Chinese was standing in one of the Italy's main squares and one saying, look, I am China, I am a Chinese, I am not a virus. And he basically at that time provoked people to hug him. This is the way they got the entire thing proliferated. China and the rest of the world also. Now the thing is, one moot question is there. Did China know beforehand that what is going to be the total magnitude and the impact of this virus? Because the PPE kits and the testing kits what are being manufactured in China, they never stop manufacturing that even after they say that they have controlled the entire epidemic, and the entire thing was so massively being made as if they knew that this is going to proliferate in the entire world. That precisely is the reason they never stopped the flights into China and outside the China in the initial period of December and January. In the mid-February, they stopped the flights. This thing basically, this is smelling a rat. Okay, like they had something in their mind and they wanted to spread the epidemic throughout the world. Now, the thing is, if we come to the economic fallout of the whole thing, China's economy as of now is of around $14 trillion. Friends, when the rest of the world, they are trying to just save their economies, when the entire world economies are going to negative, Chinese economy still will progress at the rate of 2.5%. Why? I'll explain the reason. Entire world basically is trying to cope with this pandemic. China's factories are still working. China, the entire industry, whether that is petrochemical, whether that is pharmaceutical, whether that is textile, whether that is plastic, whatever is there, they people are still working. Now I will give you one example of, when it comes to Indian point of view. in textile, we used to compete with China in very different way. Our export base was basically based upon the smaller lots of textile, whereas China used to export to the rest of the world the bigger lots. Now, since their production is continued, their the entire textile industry, starting from say fiber making, polymerization, extrusion of yarns, to making of knitted cloth, to weaving cloth, and then garments, it is still intact. They are working. And now conversely, see in India what is happening, and the same thing must be happening other bases also, possibly, say maybe Bangladesh or maybe Pakistan or other, small or big textile players in the export market. Even if our lockdown is basically withdrawn in the month of May, our textile units, our factories will take another 2 months to find their bearings back. Because if, for example, there is one textile unit here in Maharashtra, they are buying yarn from elsewhere, and the people who are making yarn, they are buying fiber from other factories, and there are other people who have polymerization plants who are making fibers and filaments. So they are shut down because of lockdown, so they won't be in position to supply them the raw material. The entire thing which is going to basically come to the normal, it is going to take minimum 3 to 4 months. In that period, what China will be doing, China will be scouting for those clients of those textile manufacturers who have been exporting from here to Africa, to third world countries, to Middle East. They are scouting for those clients, and then will say, come on, no problem, Bangladesh is not able to supply to you, India is not supplying to you, we are here because our factories are working. This is the immediate impact of China. This is one example I am telling you. This is going to happen in rest of the industries also. This will happen with plastics, this will happen with the pharmaceuticals, this will happen with all the other industries also. This is the immediate economic fallout what China basically had already envisaged. Now long-term fallout is there. What China is doing, since I told that they have around $14 trillion economy, by any conservative estimates, they will keep on growing. Already, there is not even a single country in the world with which China doesn't have any trade relations. For example, with Mongolia, they are making power supply lines for them. For Kyrgyzstan, they are making metro lines for Uzbekistan. This one border, one road project. They are making roads for them. They have taken fields. They have taken mines in Kyrgyzstan, gold mines they have taken. So much so in France, a country famous for making wine, they have bought lands there where they are growing vineyards and they are making wine in France. These are the trade relations, these are the trade aspirations of China, which is basically, and the other thing was their economic diplomacy was there. For example, what they did in our neighborhood in Sri Lanka, they enticed them to a scheme. They said, okay, we will give you loan at 6.1%, and this Hambantota port we will develop for you. And they made some kind of flowery picture. They said, okay, you are going to attract this much trade, and then you repay the loan to us, and ultimately what happened, that port is lying completely idle over there. So much so, in the near vicinity, one airport was made to feed that port. Not even a single flight has taken off from that airport. So what happened, when Sri Lanka said, we are not in position to pay the loan back to you, let alone the interest, they said, all right, we will take over the port. And now when they take over the port, what will they do? The commercials of the port are not going to change. The strategy is going to change. So they are going to, by all probabilities, they are going to use the port for their strategic purposes. The same thing they are doing they did in Cambodia also. Cambodia, they are doing in small countries in Africa also, South America also. So they are with this kind of trade diplomacy, they are trying to take over the facilities in those countries what they created by giving their loans. Pakistan is another example. say they started this road, what is called CPEC, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. They started it from their Xinjiang process, Kashgar. From there, the road started. It entered in basically Indian territory, that is originally Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir. In Khunjera Pass, this road comes to Hunza, Gilgit, Baltistan, then Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and then Balochistan, and then goes to Gwadar Port. This project basically is estimated to be of around $50 billion. You ask any Pakistani staying in that area, okay, what is going to be the outcome of the entire thing? They say it gets, as far as the benefits of CPEC is concerned, our politicians know the best. But as far as a citizen of this area, I know if not today, then tomorrow China is going to come and going to occupy the whole territory. This is what is the impression of China in the entire world. So when the other countries, they are suffering from the fallouts and the consequences of this Chinese virus, China will be basically at that time maneuvering its economy up. That is the gist of this talk. Now, how China is going to convert this economic supremacy into its strategic thing. Most of us must have heard about one term that is called this string of pearls. What is string of pearls? String of pearls is a kind of a concept, a theory what China has developed to encircle India. This in our respect, what happened? Okay, they started developing ports in Myanmar, then they took over Chittagong port in Bangladesh, then they came further down, they took Hambantota from Sri Lanka, and then they went westward. There they took ports of Maldives, and they again went up, and then they took over the Gwadar port of Pakistan. They are completely encircled us. Now, as I say, for example, counter measure, if we have to do something, so what we can do, we are doing, for example, we are taking some ports from Indonesia also, in Malacca states also, we are sitting on the neck of China with our Andaman assets and all that. But for that we need money. Friends, mind it, China was trying to impose this hegemony in Mongolia, and if we wanted to have our footprints in Mongolia, our Prime Minister had to shell out $1 billion over there. If right now our economy, which is for example $2 trillion, and Chinese economy as of now is $14 trillion, 7 times bigger than us, and tomorrow when the gap is going to grow wider, how are we going to take the measures whereby we are going to stop China where China is trying to throttle us? Now, the other thing is, in our respect, in India's respect, although this pandemic is global, in our respect, we simply cannot believe China. We remember in the mid 50s, rather in 1950, they took Tibet, which was not their territory. We remained silent, and then in mid 50s, when United Nations was at that time restructured and they created United Nations Security Council, they offered us to become the member of United Nations Security Council, which unfortunately our naive politicians, leadership declined, and instead they forwarded the name of China. China became UNSC member at that time. And then they started this fundamental phenomena of Hindi Chini Bhai Bhai. We people were oblivious at that time. Our ordnance factories were making garments rather than making armaments, and then we were stabbed in the back in the year 1962. See the deception of China. They wanted to attack us before also. They never go for this misadventure because they knew the other world powers, they will come to our support. But at that, they chose that particular time when the major superpowers of the world, they were entangled in, at that time, missile crisis in Cuba. Strategists know it. They will bear me out. In the month of October 1962, when Cuban Missile Crisis was brewing and America had resorted to blockade of Cuba, and Russia was about to fire this nuclear tipped missile from the land of Cuba. At that time, October 1962, China attacked us. They chose that particular time when they knew that because we were short of equipment, we were short of mountain warfare equipment, and we were short of field guns. At that time, America or maybe Russia, they will not come to our support because they were at that time entangled in Cuba crisis. This is the kind of deception that China has been doing with us for long now. What happened in Doklam couple of years ago? Did we provoke anything from China? Never, nothing. And they keep on doing these small kinds of skirmishes because they are mixing, they are intertwining their diplomacy with their economic maneuverability. Now the moot question is, what should we do? The basic thing is, now since China is not stopped now, it is going to trouble the entire world. All major powers, European, NATO powers, and other even third world countries, they are going to be tormented in near future. We all of us have to join ranks, and we have to basically go into the details first of all, because right now, as of now, people don't know what are the real reasons of spreading of this pandemic. First of all, the world powers, they will have to go and investigate what is the reason, how did it spread to the rest of the world, and what was exactly China's role into it. Once that is done, and then economic sanctions must be imposed against China. Second thing, now for example, major world powers, the major investors in China like South Korea, like Japan, they have started withdrawing from there. Citizen Watch Company, they had their this base manufacturing base in China. They have come back from there and they are relocating in Vietnam. My submission is, my request to our planners is, okay, why Citizen goes to Vietnam when they are withdrawing from China? Why it's not coming to India? Japan is a friendly country. South Korea, they are also relocating their manufacturing units from there. They should come to India. That will support our economy. That will basically, look, our Prime Minister has envisaged that we must become $5 trillion economy by the year 2024. Let me tell you, the way now, because you see, already our economy, which was $2 billion, we have already lost with this lockdowns and other things, $600 billion. So in order to grow, in order to reach that target by 2024 is impossible. But let us retarget the whole thing. Let us see that by 2027 to 2028 we can become because unless we become $5 trillion economy, we will not be able to face China, because by that time China already would have become around 18 or 20 trillion dollar economy. So for that to come, what we should do, that is one thing. Okay, we have to basically take all the international community along with us. Secondly, I would request with folded hands to all my countrymen, let us resort to a mantra. That mantra is 1 hour extra. 1 hour extra. I reiterate, 1 hour extra. What is this 1 hour? We have office timings from 9 to 5. Let the offices work from 9 to 6. 1 hour extra. Our people should start working in offices. Our students, they should give 1 hour extra to studies. Our farmers, they should give 1 hour extra for harvesting and other farm activities. Our laborers in the factories, they should give 10 to 15% more production. If we resort to this mantra of 1 hour extra, I would request if somebody can just put across to our Prime Minister also, because like in Gita they say कि यद्यदाचरित श्रेष्ठ देवेतरो जन सयत प्रमाणम कुरुते लोकस तदा अनुवर्तते. Like when the enlightened people, they appeal to the societies, people follow. People followed Lal Bahadur Shastri in 1965, and people follow Mr. Modi also when he said कि okay we should forgo this gas subsidy, people did. He said कि we resort to Swachh Bharat campaign, people supported him. Now let Mr. Modi also appeal to this nation. People will of course listen to him कि we should give 1 hour extra. If we have to eject ourselves out of this predicament, from this problem, all of us have to work more. All of us have to resort to the theory of karma. If we do this our karma for our motherland, for Bharat Mata, trust me, these karmas are going to come back to us later or sooner on micro level. So this 1 hour extra should be there. All of us, let us tighten our belts. Let us, whichever field we are working in, let us try to perform more. Let us try to give 10-15% more hard work, and then see whatever problems we have faced, whatever economic setbacks we have now endured, these we will overcome sooner than later. And again, I tell you, the nefarious designs of China will be defeated. With this, I am ending my today's submission. There are certain questions which are there, so I will try to. Yeah, one Ajay Sharma has asked, what is the strategy of Bharat to deal with China? Then another question is, can a litigation can be filed on China? Then Mr. Vishal Arun, he's asked, what should be our strategy to break Chinese hegemony as the entire world has lost faith in it? You see, there's a common answer to all these questions. As already I have submitted, the entire world, since we all have become victims of Chinese hegemony, we all have to join hands. And we all have to, now we have to impress upon. I'll give you one example. For example, China, if China is making one port for Turkey, for example, $2 billion, so now we have to say, okay, why India cannot build that port for lesser than $2 billion? Because we of course can do it. Our labor, as I have pointed out, we have to do more hard work. Our government also has to support the people with lesser amount of interest, and with this kind of determination, grit, resolve, we can overcome all these problems. Yeah, there is a question about litigation also. Of course, people are thinking about litigation, and as the latest reports are there, Germany also had served Beijing with a huge bill. They say because of you we have suffered, and for this, when there are people who are dominating United Nations. NATO is dominating United Nations. When NATO knows this thing, China, this is a mischief of China, so of course litigation can be done against China. Yeah, Mr. Vishal Arun has asked, can India take advantage of this situation, and if how, yes. Look, for 10,000 years, India is not known to take advantages of situations when the humanity suffers. Our mantra is Vasudev Kutumbakam. Our mantra is Sarve Bhavantu Sukhno, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Vadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kachid Dukh Bhagavet. Our that mantra is there. We will always try to get betterment for the humanity, and for that, if we join hands with the people now, they have seen through Chinese gimmicks. They know what mischief China is up to. If the rest of the world, they come with us, definitely we will overcome this situation. There is a question from Harinder Sikaji. Yes, of course, I have already pointed out, all of us have to join hands. All of us have to join hands. You see what happens. Okay, economics is a different game altogether. When China offers something cheaper than the rest of the world, of course the people will go to China. For us, we are demographically, we are as big as China. We have got younger people than China. More than 60-70% people are below 35 of age. So we can do wonders. And as I told you, we can do wonders once our morale is high. Once I know the theory of karma is, if I do something for my nation, that is to come back to me in, from micro level also. But the efforts there have to be generated on micro level. The results will get manifested on macro level, on the higher level. But effort you and me have to do. If I am doing something, if I am a businessman, I'll have to put 10-15% more efforts in my business. I will be convincing myself, this I am not doing for myself, I am doing, and anything which is done for the nation, it will definitely come back to me. Yeah, Ratanji has asked, how long will it take to get rid of dependence on China for various industries? That is the case. This is the determination. I'm telling you. I'll give you example of my own work. I make playgrounds. I have tried to plead with the people who matter in the corridors of power for last 10 years. I'm telling you, most of the people, we have to import turf from China. Why can't we facilitate manufacturing of this turf? It's not a rocket science. It's an ordinary carpet industry which can be done by anybody. But I tell you, unfortunately, no one has taken initiative. As a businessman, if I start doing something, then I find out, because of government tariffs and disincentives, my product ends up becoming costlier than what I get from China. So government has to make cumulative policy, and all of us have to basically impress upon the government, okay, if we have to ward off this menace of China in strategic terms also, then we will have to basically devise out the policy which facilitate manufacturing in India. People of India can defeat China in the region. There is one question from Mr. Pankaj Jamsani. Can India absolutely ban Chinese products in this globalization era, even if China plays wrong on its part? Let me tell you one thing. Our imports from China, they are $70 billion, and our export to China is simply $17 billion. There is a trade deficit of $53 billion. Now, how to overcome that? I know that China at that time conspired to become member of World Trade Organization in the year 2002. They told at that time, Americans, they had single objective to eject out communism from China. I will narrate this in a Urdu shairi. They say, "Khuda hi mila na misale salam, idhar ke rahe na udhar ke rahe." Try to eliminate communism from China. Communism stayed there, but at the same time, now they are basically become Frankenstein's monster for America itself. So they only facilitated their entry into World Trade Organization. Now yesterday, when our government, they said, FDI, we will not allow from the neighboring countries. Immediately China's ambassador, Mr. Sun Weidong, he went on record, he said, no, this is against the stipulations of World Trade Organization, as if they are following all stipulations of World Trade Organization. This is the art of China. This is out of deception. What China has been doing with the entire world for past more than 70 years. So I will take leave from you all. Just remember the mantra and just try to see if our enlightened Prime Minister, he can let the people know this mantra, ke 1 hour extra of my countrymen, even our Matri Shakti, which is there at homes, their performance, their contribution is not less than their male counterparts. They are there, our mothers are our moral support, and a wife can tell husband, okay, don't worry, with the lesser amount of income and with no increments this year, don't worry, go work hard.